Hey everyone, it's Deke. I wanted to say thanks so much for the warm reception to my first few videos. I'm going to try to keep making thorough and thoughtful guides for Diablo Immortal for as long as people are getting something out of it. Today I want to talk about PvP. I just hit rank 1 on the Battleground leaderboards and have been holding it for several days. It took me about 87 games to get there. I didn't start grinding it hard early in the season, so if you kind of wait too long, it takes quite a few games to get there. I want to give a shout out to Six Stella, a viewer on the YouTube channel, for the Pouncing Shield suggestion. That change helped me push through all of the 6 and 7k whales from rank 10 to rank 1. I plan on doing a short update guide on exactly what I'm doing in Battlegrounds soon. But today, I want to have a discussion around how to make PvP in Diablo Immortal a lot more fun with a fair and balanced system. I'm pretty passionate about this topic because I really do think this game has the opportunity to be a great game. I've enjoyed my time in the game since launch, and I think DI has some very innovative systems and a compelling social dynamic. Let's first talk about the whale in the room. Resonance and secondary scaling with real-life money. This is an unfixable balance issue unless they're willing to create a system that gives everyone equal footing. Lost Ark, another highly pay-to-win ARPG, deals with this perfectly and makes a balanced, competitive PvP experience. How do they do that? By allowing a queue system where all items, gems, and secondary power is chosen as a build that you get to design and lock in. So it's basically a loadout. Once you've created this, you can queue up into a match on equal footing with your opponents and let the best players win. I think to do this effectively in DI, we'd want to cap the normal and legendary gems at, say, rank 6 to keep unique properties and damage from getting totally out of control. Power creep in this game is a huge problem right now in PvP, and this would help that a lot. So for the time being, let's set that aside and assume that they're not going to create a system like that that allows us all to have an equal chance in Battlegrounds. What are some systems that we could change to make it so that PvP was fair and balanced without really changing the resonance scenario that we're currently in? So overall, PvP, I think there's some major things that need to be fixed to make this a more viable experience for people. Changes to crowd control. Diminishing returns is something that almost all games with PvP and crowd control effects in them have. Diminishing returns, I think, is absolutely necessary to make it so that the battles are fun. Because when your character is crowd controlled for 10 seconds, and I've counted this before, where I'll actually be crowd controlled for 10 seconds, it's just not a lot of fun because you don't have any agency over your character. So I think that's a really big deal. There's another huge issue that we have where some classes have very long cooldowns. And if those skills get interrupted by anything, a knockback, another type of crowd control, a freeze, a stun, anything, you get the full duration of your skill cooldown. I think this needs to be dramatically changed. I think at maximum, we should have 3 seconds of cooldown on an interrupt, right? So if somebody casts a skill that is a 25-second cooldown and it gets interrupted as they cast it, then that cooldown should be 3 seconds, and then they can actually cast their skill again. So, because if you get interrupted in a skill, say, and then you get CC'd, you have no way of using that skill afterwards. Let's take the Crusader bubble, for instance. If I go to bubble as I'm about to engage and it gets interrupted, okay, good job, they interrupted my bubble. Now what happens? Well, they CC you. Then, when their CC ends in 3 or 4 seconds and you're still alive, you still can't cast your bubble to protect yourself at that point. So effectively what happens is that whoever randomly and luckily gets a knockback on someone and interrupts their skills wins the fight. So there's not a lot of back and forth in playstyles like that. So I think if they reduce the cooldown on skills that are interrupted, it would dramatically increase the fun and balance of PvP overall in Diablo Immortal. Changes to the current leaderboard system. Currently, we need some type of bonus if you're on attacking. They're clearly not balancing attacking and defense enough. Now, I will have some suggestions specifically for the Rite of Exile style battleground and what we could change in there. But if it stays as it is currently, I think we need a point percentage bonus to your rank if you win on attacking. You guys know how difficult it is to actually win an attacking game. It's nearly impossible. And I have multiple seasons of spreadsheets to prove how unbalanced the system is. So if you do win on attacking, it should be a huge celebration, and you should get, some type of bonus to the points that you earn for the leaderboard standing. Something that drives me absolutely insane in this game, in all aspects of the game, honestly, but in PvP specifically, is the fact that because the UI and interface is built for mobile only, when that is converted to PC, everything on your screen is clickable. So if you click your minimap, if you click the sidebar, I'm constantly in a battle and I'm getting pop-ups saying, would you like to leave the battleground? Hell no, I would not like to leave the battleground. I'm in the middle of a fight. We need something in the UI on PC, and I know it's in beta, but it's been 10 months. We need something on the PC so that we can lock our UI interface so that when we're in a match like this, we're not accidentally clicking on things. This happens over and over and over again. It's such a simple fix that should clearly be implemented. Here's another one I'm sure everyone's seen that drives me absolutely insane. When you die in a battleground, when you resurrect at home base, you still have damage over time effects on you and CCs on you. So you resurrect, and then say you have a dot on you, it procs your frozen shield. It procs, you have all these things that are triggering, so you lose all your beneficial buffs because you're taking damage in the home base before you even run out, and you're taking actual damage, which you do gain that health back when you're in the home base, so that's not as big of a deal. But just the fact that once you die, everything on you, status effects should be cleared 100%. This shouldn't be something that's reoccurring once you revive. I'm not going to say a whole lot about class balance in this because I do think there is some class balancing that needs to happen, but I really believe that the systems overall need to be balanced first, and then you need to look at the class balance. But I will say, in my experience playing hundreds and hundreds of games in the Rite of Exile style battleground, barbarians need to have their Undying Rage shortened because they can stand on an objective and hold your entire team, 8 players. They can fight 8 players long enough for their entire team to revive, come back and get into battle, and an objective cannot move. That makes no sense to balance a map that requires you to push an objective. So in my opinion, Barbarians Undying Rage is way too long. And if you want to buff them in other ways, you want to give them more damage, more mobility, give them some, that's fine, but take Undying Rage down so that we can have fair and balanced objectives. Okay, so as far as the Rite of Exile style battleground, I think one easy system that could be implemented is in the queue system itself, if to, then swap. Okay, so if you queue up, you're going to do your 3 games. Everybody wants to do 3 games a day to get their materials and all that from the rewards. If you queue in and you get an attacking game, you're going to lose. Then you're going to queue in again, you get another attacking game, you're going to lose. Once that happens, you should get a defending game. Now, you might win one of those attacking games if you're super lucky. But even if you do, I think if they do a system that I'm just calling if to, then swap. So if you get 2 defense, you're going to get it attacking and back and forth. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to get 2 and then swap. But I think it could go back and forth. But I think there needs to be some mechanism that prevents you from getting consecutive attacking games. I kid you not. I had a streak where I did 15 games on attack, and I think that I lost every one of them. And that is a massive morale blow. And it kind of just makes you want to quit. Every time that happens to me, I'm thinking I just want to uninstall this game, which is not the truth, but it is the way it makes you feel. So as far as attacking changes go, increasing our timer to get the job done by 1 minute would go a long way in conjunction with this new 65 kill change to actually give the attacking side some ability to get the job done. So I think that's an easy one. They could do that no problem. It'd take them 2 seconds to fix that. For the defending side, idols should no longer return to the defender starting area unless there is a defender standing in the idle circle. Now, this is something that one of my warband members, Bourbon, had brought up. And I think that's a really smart way to make it so that defense has a little bit more work they need to do to win the game. And it makes it so that attacking has a little bit more breathing room on trying to push the idol. Our current matchmaking should be formulated in relative resonance brackets. Now, I don't know exactly what the behind the scenes looks like in terms of what they've already done. I do think that the matches have felt much more balanced to me in terms of the player groups that I'm in up to a point. Once I reached top 10 and I was grinding from top 10 to rank 1, it was pretty much well fest. I had to fight all 6 and 7K players, and that's going to be difficult. But I think in general, I had a pretty good experience once the balance changes rolled in, and I could really tell the difference between the balance changes pre and post. The way I think that the system should work is we have brackets that are relative resonance based. Now, I know that it's not just resonance that makes a person powerful. And so there might be some considerations that need to be made for the normal gems. A lot of times you'll see a player and they might even be under 3K, but you look at their normal gems and they've got all triangles in there, which are rank 7s. That is a much stronger character than somebody under 3K with all 6 ranked gems in their gear. Believe me, they're much more powerful. So maybe there needs to be some considerations for that as well. But in general, I think if you just take the resonance and you make brackets, so you say 999 resonance and below, that's a bracket. If you're under 1,000 resonance, you should not be fighting people that are way over that. Then your next bracket would be 1,000 resonance, 2,000 resonance, and 3,000 resonance. Meaning that when you queue up, you may be in games that have 1,000, 2,000 to 3,000, nothing over that, right? If you go above 3,000, if you're 3,001, you're never going to be in this bracket. And that would allow so that there will be an intermixing of those resonance, relative resonance in those matches. Then you go up from there. You have a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 bracket. Again, if you're 4,001, you'll never step foot in this bracket. You go up from there, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Again, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, and for the last bracket, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. What this does is it allows pretty much every kind of resonance range to have the opportunity to queue in a game where they're very powerful or they are the weakest of their bracket. So say you're a 3,000 resonance player, you're going to be able to queue into the 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. You're also going to be able to queue into the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, right? So every kind of resonance range is going to have 3 brackets effectively they can fit into, except for the 7Kers. Because the 7Kers, they only need to be fighting 7Kers, right? So I think in this last bracket, you have 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, meaning that if you're in the 5,000 range, you're going to be the low man on the totem pole, but you have other brackets where you're the top and the middle. So this creates, in my opinion, a much more balanced way to do the queuing system for any type of battleground that ever enters the game from here on out, as far as resonance is concerned. Okay, I've finally gotten an opportunity to do the new Accursed PvP tower, and I have to say this mode I think is a good balanced battleground. I'll tell you why. You're basically playing a Wrathy Basin from World of Warcraft. You have 5 objectives, and they're even on both sides of the map. So no matter which team is starting on which side, you have the exact same layout. There's no attack defense where you have a different dynamic depending on which team you're on. The dynamic is the same. So the map itself is fair and balanced. I think they need to go ahead and make that map our new battleground. Literally just rotate out the Rite of Exile style battleground and rotate the Accursed Tower map into battleground so we all get to queue for this and play this on a daily basis. That would be so much fun. I've spent so much time in the Rite of Exile style battleground, since game launch. It's been 10 months. I could definitely just do without that one for a while and have the new one in there and let us play that for a couple months. Or if they want, have them both in there so you get one randomly. So I think that right now would be something that they could implement that would require almost nothing of them as far as the technical work to do the job. So beyond that, I think we need to add some PvP modes to the game. And these are things that I really think will positively affect the game overall, make it more fun for everyone, and just create some PvP diversity in the game. I think we need a Rite of Exile practice with clan scrim mode. What this means is there will be a system in which you can queue with other clans. So this could be something that you could use this new activity scheduler. You could take, say your clan wants to do a Rite of Exile scrim. You coordinate with another clan and you guys book the time and you set it all up. So it doesn't have to be a system automated thing. This is something that people can just do in clan through the activity scheduler. You go in and you do a Rite of Exile just as a practice scrim match. This would allow many people to get to learn how to do the system, even if they're lower resonance. You could build compositions with high resonance players, low resonance players. This would be a way to teach players how to do the PvP matches where you could have everybody on comms together, and it wouldn't be a system where we're earning rewards. So it would literally just be a system that's already in the game, very little technical work that they would have to do to implement this, and it would allow everybody to get to queue in with other players that they want to play with to learn how to do the Rite of Exile. I think this would be an amazing mode. I really wish they would implement something like this. I think another mode that's I'm sure other people have brought up and they've pushed back on to some degree. I have seen some statements saying that they don't want to have any type of arena modes in Diablo Immortal, which that baffles me. I don't understand why, but I think if we had a 4v4 arena match mode using this resonance averaging system that I brought up earlier, that would be amazing. You could go in with 3 of your friends. You could fight for leaderboard standing in the 4v4 rankings. I think this would be really, really fun. And I think as long as we use a resonance averaging system, it's not going to get out of control where you just have, nobody can even participate unless you're 6 or 7K. I think you have different brackets. You could think of it like heavyweight, lightweight kind of brackets, things like that. So there could be some systems they put into the game that look more like that. So maybe if you're in that, 3K range, your bracket is more of a lightweight bracket and not the heavyweight. So I think there's some technical stuff they would have to design to make this work, but I think the mode would be very fun. So last thing I want to talk about is the Bilefin arena. My original clan, Strong Arm, in the early parts of the game had so much fun with the Bilefin arena. We would do clan arena matches where we would spin a wheel to choose which players from the clan would be on which teams, and then we would all go in there. We would decimate any other people that showed up first, and then our 4-party groups would duke it out for the prize. And this was a lot of fun. What's cool is you can actually choose a hell. So say you want to do this with your clan, you can go to Hell 1 or Hell 2 or Hell 3 or whatever, and nobody will really be there. But I think what would make this mode in the game better is that Bilefin Arena has hourly openings with good rewards, right? So the chest right now is a guaranteed legendary item. That's great. I think that's a great reward. I think it should be more than that. I think it should be a legendary item. I think it should be like 20 dust, maybe some other scrap material, maybe some reforged stones or cursed item stones. I think the box should be packed full of really good stuff that people want. We did this so much in the early days, but having the Bilefin Arena only be open on certain days and only be open at one time, I think is very restricting for people that A, can't play at those times, and B, it's just not enough to compel people to want to get involved and do something. I think more rewards and a lot more openings would make Bilefin Arena a really awesome attraction in the game. Okay, that's some of my thoughts on PvP. I know I'm probably going to see comments from people saying, oh, pay to win, take out the money and then that fixes it. But I think they're never going to do that, but they may do these systems where they have some equally balanced loadout style queue systems. That would absolutely fix PvP and make it amazing. And I think some of these other ideas that I have about balancing the current systems as they are would make the game a lot more fun, a lot more accessible to everyone playing the game. And I think it would create some compelling reason to get into PvP. Thanks so much for listening and happy crusading.